I have a question for you.
Okay, yeah.
You said you were part of the green team. How are you related to the green team? Where do you come into
Well,
play?
well, I'm really just a subscriber, so I've watched Sebastian's case. I'll let you know right now that I'm a neighbor of Dutchess. Um, I am just somebody who has become involved in the case really since the beginning and just trying to really help find Sebastian just like everybody else. And have just become entangled in the case and wanting to find where he's at, really, at this point. And
So, have you done any searching? Have you placed any flyers?
all I have done on my part is posted flyers on Facebook, X, and YouTube. That's what I have done, and kept up with the case as a subscriber, just because I'm concerned and all. I'm trying to do my part as a subscriber, but I really had some questions that I wanted to see if you guys could answer. Is there anything else you want to ask me about that?
That was all I had. I don't know if anybody else has anything.
Hi, Dutchie. How are you?
I'm good, Queen. Thank you for allowing me to come up. Carla, what's going on? Why are you over here on Queen's panel?
Hey, I just wanted to come voice my opinion, girl.
And, okay, so voicing your opinion has caused my phone to be blowing up. See, because apparently you come over here and told everybody that you're my damn neighbor.
Yes, she did.
That's
the first thing she said. I'm
Carla.
Dutch, that's all I said was,
Lord.
that is all I said. I didn't say another word, girl.
Now listen. Carla is my neighbor. But Carla and I don't see eye to eye on this case. Because, no, we don't. Because I believe in innocent till proven guilty.
Right.
And if I don't see the evidence and I don't see the facts being put out there and all I see is speculation, misinformation, and a bunch of bullshit, I am not going to subscribe to that.
Yeah,
I wait for law enforcement to tell me what is going on. I don't sit around and talk about all of this. He said, she said, I think it could be, it's possible. Well, he didn't do this, or I don't like this, or none of that is going to sell me on that. Carla?
I was asking Dutch where was Chris the day of Sunday? That's all I asked. And you can ask Queen. That's all I've been asking. That's all I've asked. Where was Chris Sunday? That's all I've asked.
And according to Chris, he was in Horn Lake, Mississippi.
And only thing else I asked was, what did he do? What did he do all day? Because everybody wants to know Katie's steps and Chris's steps.
But is that really our business, what he did? The only people who need to know about that's law enforcement, Carla.
But other than that, everybody else makes it, what did Steph do all day? And what did Katie do all day? I want to know what Chris did all day. That's the main question. Everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know. It ain't just me.
Everybody?
I don't want to know.
Everybody in the world. Everybody in the world wants to know what Chris did all day Sunday.
I think he was speaking for everybody, because not everybody wants to know that. I think everybody on the green team wants to know that, but it's not everybody's business. I got Lauren from Facebook up my ass on Twitter right now because she thinks I'm supposed to drop some phone recordings that I took with Chris and Katie for our first interview. Lauren, lean in. That shit's never going to happen. Y'all can come after me. Y'all can judge my interview with the Proudfoots. You can dice it. You can tear it to fucking pieces. I don't give a shit. I'm going to stand where I stand. I'm going to give families an opportunity to share the information they have about their missing person with dignity, compassion, and I'm going to treat them with respect. I am not an investigator. I am not the police. I am not a detective. It is not my job to interrogate people, and it's not my job to rip people apart. I am simply here to make missing flyers and to share missing awareness.
She sure is. I can vouch for Dutchess on that, because she does nothing but to help everybody. All I was asking was what Chris did on Sunday. That's all.
Dutchess, I've just put the link in the back, Queen, for Sebastian's missing flyer. Do you know if the information that the TBI put on that is wrong and he wasn't seen on Stafford Court on the 26th?
Yeah, he was actually seen on the 25th, and they usually will say in the area of Stafford Court, a lot of missing flyers, in case people are not aware, that is something that police departments will put out because they don't want to necessarily, at the time that they put the report out, they may not want to give the address of the home. So they'll say something like, the last place that he was seen is in the vicinity of the street where the child lives. I see it all the time. I probably look at more than 300 missing flyers a day. That is the standard protocol.
Okay, thank you for confirming that.
Dutchess's respect, she has done amazing jobs on the Tyler Boyle missing case here. Just amazing. I love her. But I was just asking about where Chris was Sunday.
Hi, Carla. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You would like to know where Chris was on Sunday, so that Katie's and Seth's whereabouts. All we know is that Seth was at work at 6 or 7 o'clock p.m. on Sunday.
Correct.
We don't know what he did up until that point, and it's none of our business. That's why nobody over here is screaming, wanting to know where Seth was or Chris or Katie was that day, because we know that it's none of our business.
By the way, after you're done your point, I just have something else to tell Carla.
We're not entitled to that information because we don't need to know. Our purpose is to get Sebastian's name out there and get it out there with respect.
Okay. So, Carla,
Yeah.
let's say Chris did come up here and he told us exactly what he was doing on Sunday. How would you
Yeah.
verify that?
I don't know that we could.
So what would be the point? Because we're not cops.
It would
Cops
be
can verify, we cannot. So it doesn't matter. I can have Seth Roger come up here and I say, Seth, tell me what happened on the Sunday before your son got missing. And he could tell me I was in Alaska. How would I know that he was in Alaska? Because I'm
I
not a cop. I
understand
can't
that,
verify.
BTM. I understand that, BTM, but I think my problem is, why do y'all dog him out so bad? That's what I want to know.
Dog him?
Why do y'all portray him to be the bad guy, and instead of just looking at all three parents? That is my problem with it all.
I could tell you that I do not believe Nick Rogers has anything to do with the disappearance of Sebastian, but I believe his behavior is abhorrent. I believe that he has aligned himself with people that are actually damaging this case, but not only this case. I believe that if this group of people continue, they will go after other missing families and bring that fiasco to them. So when I stand up,
with you on that.
yeah. So I think if Seth did nothing and did not bring these people, it would actually have been better, because these people have spread misinformation. They have made this case very toxic, where like legitimate cops, retired cops, do not want to look into this and talk about it. And a lot of people who I would rather have discussed this case too don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, because they got to worry about some crazy motherfucker, sorry for my language, who wants to do an injunction or dox their families or attack their home. Because you know what I mean? Like, that's what they're doing. You got Hong doxing people left and right. You got junctions. You got Discord servers filled with people talking about how they're going to talk to TMZ. You know what I mean? This is not something that a legitimate person wants to deal with. And also, like, you want to know where someone's at. There's no way to verify. That's the most important thing. If I just give you, if I'm a police officer and I'm questioning you, I need to verify. So the point is, Chris can come up here and lie to us. Seth can come up here and lie to us. Katie can come up here and lie to us. There'd be no way for us to verify. And that's why I keep on saying, that's what the police do. The police ask him these questions and then they verify. We
It's
can't.
nice for me to hear, Big Tim, that you do think that he's probably not guilty. My only question is, I just don't understand from both sides, is why can't everybody just work together to find Sebastian instead of bashing everybody? That's what drives me insane.
Well, bashing, we're criticizing these people. And the problem is I can't really work together with people who are perpetrating, in my opinion, of a scam. And what I mean by that is I do not believe the reward is real. I need to see an escort. I need to see proof of its existence before I believe it. I believe that these people just came around to push themselves to be famous. And I don't really believe their goal is for Sebastian. I believe their goal is self-promotion. And I think they're taking advantage of Seth. And I think Seth may be allowing it to be taken advantage of. I don't know. But I think like they picked him because they thought of him as an easy mark. And they're using him. And I'm not going to work with those types of people. I'm not working with Nick the Hat. I'm not working with TikTok Tony. I'm not working with these people. These people have shown themselves to be, they do not care about Sebastian. And if I'm going to continue to criticize them, because it is a warning for other people. I want people to be warned so that when in the future, when their kid gets missing and they get TikTok Tony dialing them up on Facebook, they know that what the history is, so they don't get pulled into these shenanigans. Because the same thing happened, Caleb's family had to deal with shenanigans, and now this. And Riley Strain, I mean, like, this is stuff that a family of a missing kid or a family member does not need to have. What they need is awareness, and what they need is actual facts going out there, and they don't need to, have these actors and LARPers come around and mess with them.
And Carla, here's something that you also need to just consider when you're looking at these cases is it seems like there's always these sides. I'm always going to stand on the side of the victim. I don't know who's guilty in this case, but there's no evidence or facts that no one's been charged. The police have said that they don't have any evidence of foul play in this situation. So when I'm getting that information from law enforcement, who I consider to be the most credible source in this situation, Sumner County, TBI, FBI, if they were indicating to us that there is a specific person that they find that is suspicious in this situation, then I can understand. And listen, everybody is going to have their own opinion, whether they like Seth or whether they like Katie or Chris. I try to put all of my differences to the side because my focus is sharing awareness to help find Sebastian. People are losing focus on what is important because of all of this extra drama and the RICO lawsuit and all of this crazy nonsense that's going on. And, in the instance of missing people want to have a villain. They want to have somebody they can blame because there has been cases where a parental figure is responsible or there is someone that is responsible. But Sebastian is 15 years old and there is still the chance that he could have walked away of his own volition, that he could have ran away. That you don't have to jump to the conclusion without any, that's why having the evidence, that's why having the digital forensics, that's why law enforcement building this case, it's so critical to allow them to do that and to stop spreading the misinformation, the disinformation, and the lies and the bullshit, because it clouds people's thoughts. And if you're not looking at this with an open mind and realizing that, hey, if I can't vet this information, then it's probably not good to put it out, because then people start running with it. You know, kind of like when Bullhorn Betty says, oh, well, Dutchess went to a motorcycle rally with Chris and Katie, and I would never be that bitch. Fuck you, Betty. Okay. Because number one, you don't have receipts, because that never happened. And if it did, so what? But it didn't. But see, she thinks if she repeats it, that it makes it true, and it doesn't.
Exactly.
Facts matter, Carla. And so when you're going out there and you are involving yourself, like going to different channels, I know you want to hear different people speak about things, but it is up to the subscriber to decide, am I going to hate bond with somebody because there's all this drama? Or do I really want to learn the facts of the case and stand on the right side of things? Because I would rather stand with innocent till proven guilty. And if somebody's found guilty, well, guess what? They're guilty, and law enforcement's going to handle it, and I have to be situated to and prepare myself that could happen. But I'm certainly not going to go trash a family and go after them and make heinous thumbnails of them and say that they unalive their child or make up all kinds of hideous lies and misinformation about them and go after them and get embroiled in a lawsuit with them all over something that I don't even know if they're guilty of.
Yeah, Carla, speaking on that, you said something earlier about why is Chris and Katie involving themselves in lawsuits? I don't know of any lawsuit that they're involved in. And second, you don't think that this frivolous RICO that was dismissed in Pennsylvania, that Sebastian's father put his son's name up under, you don't think that that's wrong? Because Chris and Katie aren't suing Betty. They took out ROs on Betty. Betty violated those ROs, so now the state of Tennessee is pressing charges on Betty for her own actions. Not Chris and Katie, and Chris and Katie are not in a lawsuit with Betty. And I'm also one who does not think that Chris, Katie, or Seth had anything to do with Sebastian. I have felt from day one that Sebastian was possibly lured out of his house, maybe from someone that he met playing online video games with.
Same here.
But if you could tell me what lawsuit that Chris and Katie are involved in, I would appreciate it, because that was, in my opinion, misinformation that you stated.
Well, do I have a voice? Is my mic on?
We can hear you, Carla.
First of all, to the Dutchess, only thing I came on here asking was what Chris did Sunday. To the lady that just spoke, only thing I was referring to was when I spoke about a lawsuit was the thing that they had against Bullhorn Betty, which I don't know a lot about. Only thing I really wanted to know was why everybody was going after Steph and just not asking where Chris was that Sunday. That is it. There's nothing more to my questions on that. And that's pretty much it.
I'd like to just chime in. I'd also like to say that I have been the one that was frivolously sued, Carla, and I'm a little late here and I don't want to come off as attacking, but I was just reading the comments. I have been a victim of the frivolous lawsuit, and I don't think that it's right that these fucking characters, Nick, Tony, Hong, even Seth co-signed the shit. He signed his fucking name on the dotted line. He swore that everything in there was truthful, and yet here I am, nearly $100,000 fucking dollars in attorney fees in the last 8 months. And I was boots on the ground. I went down there many, many times on my own fucking dime to go search for someone else's kid who didn't even get off their own fucking ass, in my opinion, and go search for their own kid and said they spread 40,000 flyers, 16 feet of paper, and they want to sit here and accuse me of derailing an investigation. Get the fuck off your ass, Seth, and go fucking search. Like all this ring around the rosy bullshit of wanting to attack people. There's people besides myself that have been down there searching, putting out flyers, spending their own fucking money to go help the effort and the awareness. And what happens? They don't want the help. So to me, that screams some suspicious behavior, in my opinion. If you're going to chase off the people who came with good intentions, who saw and had their own opinion about Seth and how he acted and his behaviors this whole time, I didn't fucking deserve it. Granny didn't deserve it. The true crime community didn't deserve it. And it's just been a domino effect of fucking attacks.
Well, I'm going to say one thing to Queen, DTM, Dutchess. Thank y'all for letting me up. Dutchess, love you. You're the neighbor.
Yeah, of course, avoid it. Yeah.
But barbecue, if this is who it is, I can't see because I don't have my glasses on. I don't know really anything about the lawsuits. I didn't come on here to discuss that. I just really wanted to know where Chris was Sunday. I'm just a subscriber. I'm not somebody getting out putting videos out. I do know from listening to everybody, I can't judge you, but I know you got a lot on your plate. And that's all I got to really say about that. But thank you, Queen. I'm going to step off panel. Just wanted to get a point across. Thank everybody for being respectful to me. Dutchess, love you. Talk to you later.
Okay, Carla.
Bye, guys.
That's an interesting neighbor you got.